Hello, hello. Welcome to Into the Storm, one of the, or actually the only, highest stream so far by the Unnatural Ones. I'm Kiken, or Sir Kiken. I'm going to be the GM, because I'll be running the game. And over there is the subject of our story today, Eli Wasif, played by Hyperphase.
Hello. I'm here.
Also, we don't know what we're doing. I'm really trying to pretend to be professional, so bear with me. Bear with us. Be bears
And a
with
professional
us.
sandwich. Let's go.
So, yes, it's first of our character intro things here, and we're actually going to start in the land of Gurga, also called where the land where fire and ice were born, for reasons. And we're going to be starting in the city of Gent. Unlike Setsegia, it is not storming, which is the constant state of that place. Here in Gurga, we're just on the cusp of nighttime. You'd see a rather large villa positioned in this east side of the city. Made of mostly wood with a kind of stone outhouse at the end of the field. There's a stables on the northern end road, just a few yards out from the front door. Lanterns lit, and a few servants walking the grounds, checking the fences, making sure all the animals are put away. But otherwise, the inside of the place is beginning to settle into the kind of that calm that comes before like supper and relaxation and sleep. Normally, the master of this abode, a very old Demi, that's a human. There's a video coming for that soon. A very old, rather kind of grizzled looking, swarthy skinned Demi man, dressed in very fine robes. They're kind of a scarlet color with some black and gold trim. You see he has a few rings on one of his fingers. A very nice looking necklace that kind of dips down into the robes. Sits at a long table, and he seems to be kind of musing to himself wistfully while there are the clinks and clanks of utensils moving about in the kitchen. Dinner is nearly served, and he by himself at the moment sits there with a plate with just some bread, like some sliced pieces of bread on it, and a dish of butter next to him. He's drinking something from a glass, something kind of dark reddish colored. And for all of his calm, there's a bit of tension happening in the kitchen at the moment as a check my notes because I'm the DM and I get to do that. As a fairly young, maybe mid-20s demi man is kind of pacing in the kitchen with his hands in his hair. This like this dark kind of matted hair. You can see he's kind of got a cold sweat going. Another person, one of 5 total people in the kitchen, has kind of put their hands on his shoulders, just like, Rosh, calm down. It's going to be fine. Just explain it. Just explain it to him. And they turn and go, oh, all right. Okay, Eli, look, I know the plan. Lower your voice, Rosh. The plan was to put what we were going to put into the drink, and that would be it. But you know how the master is. He has people check things, and he always looks and he smells stuff, and he knows what things smell like because of the reagents and things you guys use in spells. Look, the only thing safely I could get, I couldn't get all the hemlock. I couldn't get all the things I needed to make the broth that my grandmother taught me. All I could get was something that he's going to feel pretty sick. And he's probably going to want to turn in early. He's going to slow down. It's going to make him pretty ill, but I don't think this is going to do the job. Someone's going to have to, And our camera is going to just move from their pale, once again sweaty face to Eli, please describe yourself.
So Eli is a fairly tall, about 6'1", kind of average build, maybe a little more on the slender side. Demi, which is human, man. He's got dark, almost black hair and very, dark brown eyes again, almost to a black level, but with little like kind of flecks and sparkles of hazel throughout his eyes. So they're not quite that just endless black, but he's probably a little more tan than some of the people here, but he's not like not like a hard or solid tan. You can tell he spends a lot of his time inside, even though he has naturally tanner skin. It's probably paler than it would be if he got out more. He's dressed in nice clothes. He always has like a waistcoat and a dress shirt on and slacks. And current is kind of, excuse me, is just standing pretty stock still, but behind him, his shadow is this larger than life, almost like monstrous representation of himself. And you can almost see and feel the irritation he's feeling in his shadow, even though his face looks calm and collected at this news. And so it's kind of that like weird dichotomy of the two of them.
So as the shadow behind you swells a bit in the flickering lamplight behind Rosh, who that doesn't seem to make him any more calm, but how do you respond to his revelation that the poison's not going to work?
I'll do it. It's got to get done, right? So I'll do it. There'll be a chance. We're working later tonight. We're supposed to be doing a ritual or a test or something. I'm not even sure. He won't tell me. He just has me there to assist with ingredients and provide assistance for, he likes to tap into my magic essence, if you want to call it that, and just use me for almost like an extra focus. But I'll be there. I can make a move. If he's going to be sluggish or slow or sickly, I can make something happen.
Yeah. I'm sorry to make you do this. I would, but I don't know that I can.
Look, mate, you've got what you've got, and you've done enough, right? But here's the thing: it's gonna happen, and when it happens, we gotta move fast. We're not the only ones here. We're not the only ones at the house. We need to, one, tell everybody else who's, ready to leave. But we also need to be ready to go fast. Somebody needs to have horses saddled or a carriage or something.
I can do that. Kamal, the one that calmed him initially, a little bit taller, kind of stocky built, Demi. He's the oldest of the lot of you. Kind of leans down and says, "We'll get to it. He's not expecting you. Go on. It's fine." Looks at you for a moment, Eli, and the other two that are in the room. One of them being the shortest of all of you. You know that to be Halan, the Vishkanya. It's got like little light green, very fine scales, and the kind of burnished gold eyes. Also nods, and then the about your same height, Valga, Ulu, female, also gives him kind of a firm nod. Yeah, all right, okay. Kind of dries his hands off for a moment and walks out the other side. This kitchen has it's got those two doors. You got one that kind of goes right into the dining area, and the one that kind of leads out toward like a pantry and some other things. He leaves out that one, so he's not even going to be seen for now. Leaving you, Kumal, Valga, and Halan. Valga speaks up next, and she goes, I can get it in his drink. Easy. He won't check. I smelled it myself. It's odorless.
All right, that's good. So you've got a good way for delivery, and then how long is it supposed to take? Do we know? I don't want to try something too soon.
Kamal speaks. Says, takes about 20 minutes or so, but the master's his blood is different. like how yours is different. Maybe it goes faster, maybe it goes slower. It's hard to say. Give it maybe an hour if we can, or until you start to see the effect. You know. He will not eat with us. We are the help. You are the special one.
Yeah, don't remind me. So, all right, then I'll make sure to keep an eye on that. Hopefully it doesn't kick in till after dinner, because, if it goes too fast, he's going to want to retire for the evening. We still need him to want to go forward with the ritual, or whatever it is.
Right. We should probably go. We'll finish getting the food ready. We'll expect you out there before we are. They kind of straighten their clothes.
Yeah, Eli starts to do the same thing. He adjusts his cuffs, straightens his waist jacket. You see my jacket. He always gets mad if I don't show up to dinner with a jacket. I take it off and put it on the chair, so why do I even need it?
You all kind of, in like the same exact pattern and rhythm, like we're straightening your clothes. Yeah. And then Rosh runs back in really quick and just kind of holding the jacket gives you kind of that look and tosses it to you, and then he bolts back outside.
I do the catch and in one fluid motion, you'll spin it and slip it on both arms, and then immediately adjust the cuffs and clip it, and then button the two buttons across the chest. Wow, wish me luck. Here we go.
Luck.
Yeah. So I head right into the dining room, like nothing's amiss. Like it's a normal day.
So you march in there like everything is normal. I am gonna have you go ahead and roll me a bluff check just to see how well you're playing it cool.
All right. Let's watch my rolls. All right.
It's 15. Pretty solid. And he's not paying. You can tell he doesn't look up at you. He seems to be still sitting there. He's kind of stroking his kind of short, well-kempt beard he's got going. And you know your master's kind of a subtly vain man. He takes very meticulous care of his appearance. All of his servants, all of you guys, he makes sure that you're wearing nice clothing. You're not in rags. You dress well above your station, and that is by his intent. He cares a lot about appearances, including his own, and he's kind of kept his hair and everything in a way that makes him look a little younger, even though you know that he's pushing on in years. Through the wrinkles and everything, all of his hair is silvery. You're fairly learned, I think. Are you trained in knowledge history?
No, I have knowledge local and dungeoneering and arcana. Oh, and planes. But I don't have history.
Nice. Local's fine. It's nothing worthy of you don't have to roll anything, but you also know that Tertian people their hair color and stuff tends to stay for a while. It doesn't start turning gray until they're quite old. He's never really revealed exactly how old he is, but appearance-wise, maybe late 60s, mid 70s. But as you come out, he's Eli. We've not covered something. It's my specialty. I believe it is time. Of course, after dinner, we will need your energy. But I think maybe you are ready to do your first summoning. Well, at the very least, you are ready to assist in one.
Of course, mister, of course. I unbutton my jacket and put it on the back of my chair as I sit down and grab, napkin, everything, proper manners, set up, and make sure everything's pushed and set up right, so not because I know that stuff's important to him.
It is. And you can see even as you're doing that, you know exactly what you're doing over there, but you can tell he's preoccupied because he kind of does, automatically, he casts Mage Hand. He kind of waves a hand, and you see him kind of adjust some of the things on your side of the table, almost in an automatic way, almost rushing you to be in the how do I put it? It bothers him when things are out of place, and he's kind of like rushing you to fit into the space that he has you in his head so that he can continue to think about what he's thinking about.
Gotcha.
I should have made you roll sense motive for that, but it's fine. You know him very well, so.
Right, yeah. Known him my whole life, so.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
This is, what creatures interest you? What sort of one, if given the choice, would you want to form a bond with?
Well, I've always been quite interested in, things that fly, like mythics and imps and, what are they? They're like genies, but they're not, I think they come from like your area of the world. I've never seen one, only read about it in the books you gave me. There are those, and then always been, partial to pretty much anything that can interact well with the shadows, since, of course, my blood seems to react well with them.
It does. Mephits, elemental creatures, imps. I don't know that we would get away with summoning imps. The locals may not like that.
Yeah, people tend to not like things like of their ilk.
They are quite similar, but different levels of malevolent intent. One more mischievous, one more malicious. And they both have their uses. Yeah. In my home country, this would not be such a problem. We would have had you in the academy by now. But that is a way off. Garga, still not completely willing to sign on to the Accords, so it may be some time before we see an academy here. But trust me that if that does happen, I will do everything I can to make sure that your education is taken care of. It's very important.
Eli's at this point, he's like fidgeting under the table, just like doing the thing where he like rubs his fingers together, but completely out of sight and noiseless because he doesn't want him to lose. Just like, but he obviously is nervous. It's just like, education, it's always important. That's why you give me so many books.
It is. I thought you'd be more excited at the opportunity to leave this place for a while. Maybe you've grown to like the manor.
It is pretty much all I've known, I guess, so it's not the worst place.
Is it?
Yeah. It's home, right?
It is, but your accent has not fled you. That is not from here.
I don't know. Don't know if it'll ever go away, right? Even no matter how much you try and blend in.
May not. But it's all right. We are, in many ways, a house of foreigners. And finally, mercifully, the others come out with food.
Yeah.
It's like the largest portion of it is actually a big bowl of stew. Because it is getting a little colder as of late. And won't admit it, but your master, of course, just really can't handle the cold much these days. So he eats a lot of hearty, warming food. So you get stew and this bread and these some roasted vegetables. There's some beets in there. They bring out some more bread, some more butter, the meats are on little skewers and such. Those are basically kebabs, which aren't really common in Gurga. It's you do eat quite a bit of Tertian cuisine here. You guys kind of had to learn how to make it pretty much under his instruction, which has been a trial and error process because it's clear he was not a cook. But that does come out and is served. And Kamal comes over and sets down the wine glass, and you see Volga kind of walk behind your master with the pitcher, she kind of takes that slight circuitous route so that as she's behind him, she gives you this look that's like, go ahead.
I just kind of like do the most subtle nod I can do.
And bluff. Obviously. Right. Passing the secret message, trying to make sure that you're not seen looking weird.
Ooh. Yeah, that roll was almost a 1.
Yeah, it kissed that 1.
Yeah.
That's what 12. Okay. I have to see what Mr. Paranoid's bonus is. Okay. So, anyway, so you give that subtle nod, and she comes around. You can see her hand move very subtly. You just barely see a movement of her hand over the picture as she raises it, like right before she would hit like the peripheral of his vision. She leans over and pours the wine glass, and he as soon as she finishes, he kind of puts his hand on her arm and says, "Thank you. Today, I think the first cup should go to Eli. He is going to have a interesting night, I think. It's good luck to have the first cup." He slides it over, and she looks up at you and just shakes, like the subtle shake of her head as she picks it up and says, "Of course, master." And takes it over and sets it down. And when she sets it down next to you, while she's still over there, he motions Kamal over to pour his glass. And she gets over there and sets it down. She goes, "I don't know how he noticed." Sorry, I don't know if that picked up. She said she doesn't know how he noticed. Sets that down, and she kind of bows and stands and waits to be dismissed. Kamal heads back over, stands next to her, and they kind of wait for a moment. And he swirls the wine for a second. Well, a quick drink before you are dismissed. You see him lift the wine glass to his nose. He kind of smells it for a moment, and he waits while you have yours.
I will. Trying to decide how I want to. I guess I'll do the thing where you kind of pick it up and you put it to your lips and you look like you're drinking, but you don't actually take a drink. You know, you just kind of let it go across your lips.
Okay. This one I will allow either bluff or sleight of hand.
Let's see. I have a better bluff, so I will bluff. I do not, however, have better rolls, is the problem.
The tradition holds.
Yeah.
Okay. So you try that, and there's a moment where like it kind of is like you kind of don't have your mouth sealed all the way. You're like trying you're trying to get everything in line so you don't look suspicious. And you don't close your mouth quite all the way, so it gets in your mouth a little bit. And there's that moment of panic of, oh shit. So you know there was a falter, there was a moment where you're like, oh no, that's gonna look weird. But then you bring it down and you look across the table at him, and he just nods and takes a drink of his own. And then he kind of makes that just a quick shooing motion, and you see then Kamal and Volga both they bow. Kamal next to you says, "I put the rest of the dose in that one." Stands up, and they turn and leave.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking about trying to accidentally spill my drink so I won't have to drink anymore, but I think I just won't drink. I'll just act like I forget about it. Because we have stew, that's fine. Stew counts like a drink in my mind, I guess.
Fair enough. So you guys talk for a bit. At first, he's just kind of talking about some general things. He's talking about the weather and an interaction he had with one of the merchants that rode through earlier today because he was trying to get some more reagents and material components.
Mhm.
And he's just going to talk about normal things for a little bit. You know, he doesn't really have people to talk to other than you.
Right.
But after a while, and you can see that he is continuing to drink the wine. He finally says, so, quickly, we want to go over the memory check. There are 3 important elements to basically any summoning circle. Do you know them?
Would I know them?
That's gonna be Knowledge Arcana.
Okay. I don't. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I don't have that. Yes, I do. I lied. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're fine. Yeah,
Okay.
This one you could have actually made untrained because it's actually a familiar subject to you, even if it's not. It'd be weird if you didn't have Knowledge Arcana trained, given that you're being trained by a mage.
Yeah, that's why I was like, did I screw something up on my character sheet? No, I do have it. I just was looking at the thing above it as well. It's fine.
Fair. 18's plain. So, essentially, you know that basically it kind of works in tiers. There are 3 things, like you said. You have 1 component to the circle that is close to you. And it means it's essentially considered it's a physical, what's the word I used? It's a physical tether. So it means close to you in a physical sense. So it'll be something of your plane, something from like a hometown or something like that, something that is physically close to you. If it has any kind of deeper meaning, that helps, but it needs to sometimes it is ash, like wood ash or something, or just straight up like sand or dirt or anything. Certain components have stronger properties, but as long as it is something native to this plane that you can make the circle out of, charcoal, whatever, you just need something like that. The second is essentially a spiritual tether. That is something that is something for the creator of the circle. So, like, that is something personal in a way that is close to you. The component needs to be something that is far, something that is like opposed to you, something you dislike, something that reminds you of a thing that you hate, something that like you feel is almost your opposite but represented in a material, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're like if you're like afraid of fire or something, then you use like ashes or something, or like smoked something. If you're I don't know, if your parents were killed by a bear, then maybe like bear blood or like fur or something like that. Just whatever you can kind of connect to a thing that is against you. Mm-hmm. So you have these 2 opposing forces. The third is the variable one. That one is going to depend on what you're summoning. With 18, because you were talking about imps earlier, you know that like something like alchemical or like powdered silver would be good against any creature that's malevolent in nature, especially from one of those like far, like deep dark planes like the Hells. But if it was something more ethereal, you'd want to use salt. But that third one is the one that is going to depend on what you're trying to contain into the circle. Right?
Got it.
So now you know those. Or you already knew those, but yeah. So he asks you that, and you may respond in character however you like.
Well, so I know for the ones here, we like to use ash from the fireplace, right, to make the circle for our local one, and then far away one. I don't know what it is you use every time, but it's that strange like liquid. But I could get something that's similar. It needs to be something, way antithesis. I could do, I don't know, something to do with my, excuse me, with my, my very youth, thing like the from the dustbins or things like that I just stuff I didn't like back then. I could find something like that here. That's easy. And then if we're gonna do, I don't know, we're trying to catch like a spirit or something ethereal, a shadow. We do salt, right? Or silver, something from the hells. On, anything we've got all those ingredients.
This is true. We do have everything we need, but I want to know where our focus is. Those are all correct. For you, with your the darkness is shadow in your blood, I would believe that my accent's fucked up. Anyway, for you, I would say maybe ground glass, something that is representative of light, a reflection. Ground glass, maybe you're opposing.
Right. Could use that. We also had there's like luminescent worms, I think, at one point. We could use the paste from those, although they might be spoiled now. We got those months ago.
Right. They may be, though. There's some were dried. They lose their glow, but that doesn't matter. It's the thought about it. We should get moving. I'm not feeling well today. He kind of pauses, looks at his cup for a moment, looks up at you. Yes, I will, clear these down, and I will meet you in the study. Gets up, you can see he's struggling a little bit, blinks a few times, wipes his eyes, and, I suppose, walks off.
Yeah, I'll stand up and put on my jacket when I stand it from the chair, and then pick up my stuff and the other stuff and go just dump it in the kitchen quickly.
You get in there, it's Halan is still in there, and he's already starting cleaning stuff, and you come over, he's how did it go?
He looks a little wary, I guess, or cautious, but he also looks like he's not feeling well, so I guess it's working.
Good. Okay, clean these so that there's no suspicion, and then I will start to go gather. I'll get some things together. Eli, are you sure you're up to this?
It's got to get done, so we'll do it.
It doesn't have to.
It's got to get done. I'm not staying here anymore. We'll do it.
He nods. Okay. Goes, starts cleaning a little bit faster now.
I straighten my coat and everything. I'm walking out, and I give one of those just hard looks at my shadow. What? Yeah, he's right. You're not chickening out on me. You have to come with me. As I just fix it, and then kind of the how do I look? You don't care. And then just keep walking.
So as you're heading toward the study, you can tell that your master is weakened. And you know that he's a powerful arcanist. But he is older. His body is still susceptible to these things, and seeing him waver and stuff, you know that's definitely affecting him, probably even more than he's showing. But what are you thinking when you're heading into that study to do this experiment?
That if we're doing some kind of summoning circle, maybe there's a way I can try and mess with the circle or the components to overload or channel the energy in a different way. Or if he's gonna show me by summoning, maybe I could sabotage his circle so that the summoning energy kind of backfires on him or pulls more than it's supposed to, so that he's weakened, and then maybe I can, I don't know, hit him with a table leg or something.
Okay.
Just whatever's at hand, obviously. Break a decanter over his head. I don't know.
So, okay. There's a... okay, so you're wanting to disrupt that ritual. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so as you're heading that direction, kind of trying to think about your options, heart's probably pounding. Eli's never killed anyone before. Certainly never a person who, despite the kind of just terrible situation that you're in with having very little agency, with having the history that you have, despite that, this is still the person who has otherwise put a roof over your head, make sure you've been fed, and has displayed a level of measured control over many aspects of your life. I'm not going to sit here and say that you're wavering in your decision at all, but it is a precipice. It probably feels a lot like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing that the only choice is to jump, because whatever's behind you is worse. Right. So,
well, I think when I get in the room, right, I'm going to take off my coat and put it on. There's obviously going to be a coat rack. And then when we go to do the ritual, I go to roll up my sleeves so that I don't get anything on my sleeves. And that's when there's like just scars across my arms that are from like canings and different things like that. So that's going to be that extra resolve, is where I might feel wavering or might whatever. When I roll back my sleeves and I kind of just see my arms, I'm like, no, this has to stop. So
you roll the sleeves back and look at the scars in your hands and kind of see between your fingers, you see your master standing kind of in the corner. There's several lanterns lighting the area. It's very well lit by design. There's a few bookshelves there, and you can see there's a sort of open space in the center that he's standing near. And you can see he's just a little more hunched than normal, but he's trying to stand about as straight as he can and regard you with the same kind of imperious air that he carries with him. Though, on to your previous musings, your thoughts about how to do this, go ahead and roll me I'll take either a Knowledge Arcana, a Spellcraft, or a Knowledge Planes from you. Good ways to disrupt the ritual.
I'll go do Spellcraft.
20. Okay. I'll try to keep this one shorter than I did the first knowledge drop. So with what you now know about you've got your physical component, you've got your spiritual component, you've got your variable, essentially. Those first two are important in that that part of the circle essentially is where the actual magical energy is going to be contained. It's generated almost how you'd imagine that opposing ends of a magnet kind of have that effect on each other. They kind of lock in. Because you know that in the center of this, where the actual summoning is happening, based on the actual third component, the variable, that it creates a lot of energy. You need that to remain contained, or bad things could happen. You can lose control of the summon. You could have just a backlash of arcane energy that does some other terrible things. You could summon the wrong creature. You could be sucked into the plane you're trying to bring something from. Bad things can happen. But it's important that you have those two opposing forces. Because of that, you know that if you pick, for example, something on your spiritual connection that is the closest to that variable, if you pick something that, rather than being opposed to you, is something that is more also in tune with you, it's only going to amplify the energy being sent outward. So you could likely cause one of those very bad things to happen. The only thing is, what are you going to pick, right? What can you do that you can also get past him to say, oh no, this is totally the thing we discussed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you're landing as you walk in there and you see him. He, even as you're approaching, he kind of holds a hand up and says, I am more tired than usual today. Eli, we've discussed the kind of things you need. We have the wood ash and some ground charcoal here. That will cover the physical. Go and gather the other two components. Decide what you will be bringing, what we will be summoning, and bring the correct items. I will examine them.
Okay. Right away, I'll go to the component room, and so I just take a look over to the component room, and I'm looking through the stuff. And I'm like, okay. I just grab salt, and I'm like, we'll do salt. That's fine. And then trying to kind of go through and figure out what I can use to trick him, and I'm just like, okay, we talked about the glowworms, talked about this, and I was like checking those, see if they're spoiled or anything, and I was like, okay, so that's like the opposite. I need the same, and so I grabbed the glowworms, and instead of using them, I get like some other just kind of like dried worm component thing that would not obviously be an opposite thing, but they're like, I'm trying to like in tune in my head. I'm like, okay, like a regular like dried, let's say like earthworms or night crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel calm and safe at night. I feel good. Like these are things I associate with that early morning and digging around and just being by myself. So these, and they can trick them, and because the glowed one, they lose their glow after they've been dried. So I'm like, that's my thoughts. I can trick them with these. And if not, I can play it off as a simple mistake that I grabbed the wrong ones.
Okay. So yeah, you grab those. You're trying to kind of attune this specific energy into them. Is there any like specific? You kind of gave some like, safe at night and stuff. Is there any specific memory you kind of try to tie to this to like really solidify it?
I'll tie like the most specific one probably would just be that like, okay, so you know how when it gets super hot and earthworms come out and then they get stuck in like wherever and they're just on the ground. So it'd be one of those things where I like picked up a bunch as like a young kid or whatever, and I grabbed them all and I kind of waited, and then I like reburied them at night. I like trying to kept them in a little cup or a bowl or something during the day so they wouldn't fry outside. And then I tried to just rebury them at night, and it's just a weird little like memory I attached to them from being younger, something I kind of got away with.
Okay, that works. Roll me a caster level check.
Show.
Nice. Okay. Actually, I should have made you do concentration, which would have added your
Yeah, I'd get
charisma bonus.
Yeah, I'd get more to that.
Which would be how much?
So my concentration check's 8, so it's 5 more because my charisma bonus is 5.
So 25.
Yeah, man. I put all my points in charisma.
I just realized the chat thing is weirdly cut off. Hold on, let me drag that over. That's a 25, y'all. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me slide that over a little bit. That is not. Hold on.
I am remarkably average across the board, but I am exceedingly charming.
Okay. I'm really hoping that it doesn't freeze everything. Oh no. I just need you to do. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
All right.
There's like cut off slightly on the right side. I don't know how that happened, but it's fine. It's fine. So that's a 25 total because I rolled 20 on the die, but I had him roll the wrong check. Charisma bonus plus 5 makes that a 25, which is high. So,
yep.
So yeah, you can feel a shift in this component. You can tell that some kind of energy in it changed. And you do kind of feel this odd sense of calm now that you sort of attuned this memory to it. As you walk back in, you go and present the items to him, and he kind of examines them. You already talked about the charcoal and stuff. He says salt. He says salt. So maybe something shadowy. Or maybe
I was thinking like a shadow mastiff, yeah, or something like that. I don't think I might be probably not strong enough to get like a mastiff, but they do have the like little what are they called? Padfoots, the shadow dogs.
Yes, and you will not be doing this alone. I don't. You are talented, but I do not trust. I do not trust you so much to have you go completely hands-free. But it's all right. This is a good idea. And what is this ingredient?
It's the glowworms you talked about earlier.
Yes, the glowworms. Now they do lose this glow when they are dried. Is there some part of them that you feel is opposing you? Well, how do you see them?
Well, they bring light even to the dark, and the dark is where I excel. It's being surrounded by that shadow, and they bring brightness to that even when the sky is dark.
Simple, which is good. Keeping it simple for your first one is very smart. No other reason?
That's all I can really think of. I
Bluff.
tried to use. Okay, yeah.
You can keep talking if you want, but
Oh
I'm
no,
going
that's
to need
fine.
that bluff check.
I tried to use glass like you said, but I couldn't really attach anything solid to glass in my mind that was super negative. I just think about windows and lanterns, I guess, and there's nothing too bad about those.
Those are things you like, I suppose. Okay. Yes, the worms will do. Okay. So, you need to. And he kind of starts explaining what you need to do to create this circle. And it basically breaks down to you're going to have basically three different mixtures. Each of them has a little bit of the other two in them, but they're going to be primarily one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be like, the physical is going to be 90% ash, and then like 5% of each of the other two. And then the middle one is going to be 90% glowworm, and so on and so forth. Sorry. And then like very meticulously have to kind of form this. It's not just a circle. There's some kind of symbols you sort of have to carve or kind of mark into the circle once it's kind of laid down. And it's not just powder. It actually you mix it into like a paste and you put it in layers. It's a very involved process.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks you through this, and as you're forming the circle, give me a spellcraft.
All right.
Very good. So as this is being formed, the other thing you know for a fact is that if this goes as planned, especially if it's, he's going to summon something that's a bit above your level, possibly, and you're going to be assisting. Kind of, it's like letting you lead, but he's really doing all the work. This is going to create a lot of energy. And if you've amplified it to flow outward that way, and it just explodes, well, you're here too.
Yeah, right.
So you're going to have to find a way to make sure that is directed where you want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you can try to do that while you're making it. Put like a weak spot in it or something, like scrape it away. Hope he doesn't notice. It's possible. He does seem to be fading a little bit. Or it could be something where you're just going to, kind of in the middle of everything, just do something drastic and sudden and have it burst and hope it works, right? Or if there's something else you can think of.
Nope. I was thinking about trying to weaken a part of it so that like where I'm going to be standing will hopefully not receive the brunt of what's going on.
Okay, so you're going to try to subtly weaken part of the circle and just hope he does not notice.
Yep.
Okay. So for that, I will definitely need a sleight of hand.
All right.
12.
Not great.
He's got to roll perception against that. I believe perception. Let me check. Yeah, perception. Which is actually a bit better than his sense motive. Unless he rolls a 2 again. Okay. So, as you guys are forming the circle and you kind of like, you reach for like one part of it to like pretend you're like adjusting the lines, and you pretty deliberately slide your foot along one of the sections isn't quite dry yet. You're trying to kind of get like a bit of a smear, and then maybe when you step back, you can fix it, even though it's now been kind of rubbed away. You're trying to do this to like the part where he's going to be standing. Mm-hmm. And as you do that, he's no. Step back. This could have been very dangerous. You need to pay attention. Step over here. You can see he's already upset. Like you can see kind of the red rising in his face a little bit, even though he's very
Mhm.
tanned. He kind of shoos you to the corner and he goes and starts fixing it. No, you cannot afford to make mistakes like this. This will cost you and possibly others their lives. He's fixing it, keep going about it. Ends up and faces you again and says, "We are going to keep going. No more mistakes. None. It has been a nice evening. Do not ruin it. You have too much potential to waste here. I would rather hurt you so that you learn than lose you because you are careless."
Yes, Master. I understand.
He turns, goes back and says, "Inspect this. Make sure there are no other weak spots. Be diligent." Steps back and he kind of leans against the wall a little bit. You see him kind of. You can see his eyes like kind of fluttering a little, and he's like blinking a little bit oddly, like he's trying to get his bearings over there while he waits for you.
Mm,
But you'll see that he goes and grabs his cane. You're not sure if it's to steady himself or if he's mad enough that he's going to cane you now.
right.
But so you go back over to inspect it. Are you going to try anything while you're inspecting it, or are you going to just walk around it and play it out cool for now?
I think I'm just gonna play it cool. I think it's that like built-in like trauma response at this point where I am now doing exactly as instructed.
Okay. So you walk around it. You don't find anything off because you know the only off spot was the one you made. As you like, kind of walk past and like, see the spot again, it would have worked. Would have worked. But he's giving you this look like, well,
It all looks good. I checked everything. I double checked over the spot that you just fixed just to make sure too. It looks good.
he comes over and using the cane. He's not quite limping, but you can see he is favoring. He's leaning on this thing. Walks around it and yes, this is better. Everything else was flawless, but one flaw like that, you could unleash something. Not just the magical energy inside, but the creature boundless, could attack, could escape. People here are not like in my homeland, Eli. They do not accept that these things happen. If we if we unleash a shadow mastiff onto the town, they will come for someone's head.
Right. Yeah. We definitely don't want to upset the locals with that. We'll have to be more careful.
Regardless, yes, regardless. Now we will begin. And he goes and stands on one side of it and kind of directs you to stand right about arm's length from him. And he begins to kind of walk you through the verbal components of this. And this is what you've learned about this method of summoning, this kind of ritualistic method he's using. You know is not typical magic, and he has kind of talked about this before, how this is something not that he developed, but he says, whenever he talks about it, he says we. He talks about his family, his lineage has developed this kind of specific line of these like ritual summons and spells that they've worked on for decades, many of which passed down for generations and generations and generations. He claims they are some of the writings are pre-Desolate Age, and thus why some of them are so powerful. And so this isn't like typical magic. It's both more time consuming and energy consuming, but also very powerful. And you can sense that as you begin to go through the chants that he's directing you to. You don't know what will happen if you mess those up. I'll be clear. You definitely are not sure what the effect would be. But you do know what happened if that circle, if you complete what you're doing or if that circle is breached. And you know the energy is beginning to build. You can both kind of feel it. And you know you could wait a while and wait for it to build up a lot. But there is a chance that he will notice this doesn't feel right because it's all escaping. Or you could try to make a move of some kind, maybe before you think he'll notice it. Or hell, you could wait until you think he's realized something is up and just do something drastic, right? You've got options. You might have more than I'm thinking of. I just want to kind of know where your head is at here.
I think I'm kind of in that we go until he seems to figure it out, and then when he seems to figure it out, I try and like release as much energy into him as I can. If we're standing like arm's length away from each other, I don't know.
I'll say you're actually more like you're not arm's length from each other. You could reach each other if like both of you reached out. You could touch each other, right?
Well, yeah, I got
2 arm length. Yeah,
I might try and like dive behind him or something like that when the time comes. Try and use him as a shield.
Could yeah. Okay. Is that actually kind of what you're thinking of doing?
Yeah, because I don't know, like, obviously, I don't know how big this explosion is going to be, and I don't necessarily feel confident that I could take it or this outpour of energy, or if it is going to be that. If it is that we summon some crazy Shadow Master thing, I also want to be standing behind him if it's going to go for him first. So
okay, so all right. So you're kind of trying to be ready to do something. I'm just going to have you I'll help you roll a concentration check. You're trying to like keep this up while also watching him. An 18. Okay, very nice. Now roll me a sense motive.
okay. Not good at this.
Ooh, that was almost a nat 20.
Yeah.
So an 8. So you were much more focused on the thing that you know is an immediate danger. You're way more focused on making sure you don't flub this ritual. Because if you do, nothing bad probably happens to him, and you get caned, and you don't get to finish your mission, and you might die. So,
right.
Yeah, really focused on that, and you're trying to kind of watch his expression and everything while you're doing it, but you're distracted. For sure you're distracted. And as it's kind of building up, he finally just he reaches a point as you're kind of at the end of what you might call like a stanza of these chants. And he kind of pauses and he holds his hand up for a moment. Something is not right. This energy is flowing out. It's all flowing out. Stop. Stop. Do you stop?
No, I start chanting faster.
You start chanting faster. So there's this kind of spike of energy for a moment, and he snaps his like gaze over to you. Kind of seems in that moment realizes what's happening. So, real quick, we're gonna go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh boy.
Your that thing on the map is, I believe, your token.
Okay, so I click that and then do initiative. Work. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an 11. I don't have a token for him, but I'll just. What do I have over here? What do I have over here? Oh, I have this super rad jacket that's for one of our other campaigns.
Thursday campaign?
Yeah. He's going to be the jacket.
All right. Super rad jacket.
So that's a... Oh, you know what? I didn't put my initiative macro over here. That's okay. I'll just roll it. I'll open roll this. Oof. Okay. So that's an 8. So you beat him. You start chanting faster. He notices. He starts shouting at you in Tertian. I don't even know if you speak Tertian.
I do believe I do.
You do?
I speak, I'm pretty sure I speak Tertian and Ulis and Rollian. Yep. I don't know. I think I learned Rollian because other servants know Rollian, and then Ulis because that's where we live.
Right. So So he starts shouting at you in Tertian. He says, "Stop, you idiot! You're going to kill us both!" And he starts like making his way over to you. He's not moving very quickly, going around the circle. But you're gonna get to go first. So for the chanting, I want you to go ahead and roll another concentration. Very good. That's for free. I'm giving you that as kind of a surprise round action there. So now you have your full suite of actions: standard, swift, and move. What else do you do?
I move away from him.
So you just like skirt around this. The circle is about 10 feet in diameter, by the way.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So you just like skirt all the way around, like getting to the opposite side, doing like the ring around the rosy thing. Not ring around the rosy thing. But
very much that. But
you ever play tag and you got a thing in between you? Yeah.
You're trying to like set up the juke. Yeah.
Oh god, it's this old man who was poisoned.
Yep.
So yeah, you easily get all the way around there with your move action. Then do you do anything else with your standard and swift? You're already chanting, so
yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna be able to like cast a spell or anything. Is there anything I can grab to like defend myself if he comes at me?
Sure. Roll a perception.
Okay.
4. You glance around really quickly, but you're mostly trying to keep focused on the spell. So all you see is a wooden bucket next to you.
All right. Yeah. No. I'm not gonna grab the bucket. I am gonna just, I guess because I can, use my Cloak of Shadows ability just to make myself a little weirder and harder to see. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. Not that it's really gonna help me in this case, but I'm using it anyways.
All right. Go ahead and describe how that looks.
So when I do the Cloak of Shadows, my shadow kind of like joins up with me and it cloaks over me to where then I, instead of just looking more like a person, I have that like shadow radiating out from me to where I'm kind of hidden from view inside of it.
Covered in this penumbra, essentially.
It makes me look also more like distended and weird, even though I, of course, am the same, but it gives me the aspect of a shadow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you do that, and he's coming after you. He pretty much does his like full movement, just staggers his way with his cane over, gets all the way over and raises the cane, but it basically took his entire move to get adjacent to you. So we are back to your turn. Go ahead and roll concentration to continue chanting. You can feel this energy is starting to spike. You don't know exactly what you're summoning yet. 24. Good God. Okay. Yeah, you're keeping it up. You're able to you're going at a much faster clip. I'm going to say with these rolls, one of the things you realized after you got to this point and why you were able to speed up so effectively is that this is already one of the incantations you've studied several times. And you think he probably picked this to make it easier, or maybe he's even been trying to prepare you for doing this specific thing. But either way, as you started going through, I remember this. You got this happy birthday memorized. So you're just going at this rapid clip, and you can tell this is about to reach a boiling point. You're starting to see the circle itself. There's little glowing motes starting to come off of it. You're starting to see visual aspects of this magic coalescing with just your own voice. He's obviously stopped. But he is adjacent to you. He's going to try to hit you with this cane. It is your turn.
I'm just going to try and put him in between me and the circle now. That is my only goal. Even if I get hit, whatever, if I can hold, kind of that cover up, wait for the ref to stop the fight thing. Just continue chanting, and as long as he's in between me and the circle.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. This is going to be a grapple check, so basically a CMB check. What is his CMB? Oh, Lord.
Terrible and then was good. Yeah, that was almost terrible, then turned into a good one.
That's so much more than what you need. Okay. Yep. So you, yeah, you're able to. He raises this up. Actually, he actually does get an attack of opportunity, which, sure, right, against you when you try to grapple him because you don't have the improved grapple feat.
No, I do not.
All right. Here
I've got
goes
combat casting though.
the old decrepit man's melee attack. Oh, you know what? Yeah, he's also fucking. Like, how long have we been? Yeah, over an hour. Fuck it, we can curse now. So, he, yeah, dude. I forgot he's also sickened, so that's also a -2. So total of 1. Is your AC 1 or less?
No, it's not. Thank goodness. It's a whole 11.
Damn. So yeah, he tries to take the swing at you. You grab the wrist, and you can like feel the bones kind of grind. Like his wrist is like so brittle. You can feel the bones kind of grind as you grab a hold of it. You kind of like get your head into his chest and grab hold of his robe and continue chanting, where you're kind of smothering his attempts to hit you.
Yeah.
But that was actually your standard action. You still have a swift and a move. I don't know if you have anything you can do with those at the moment.
Yeah, I don't really think so.
Was I use your move to basically kind of maneuver to get him in, between you, so you can keep chanting. And for his turn, he is going to attempt to do something that his class allows him to do. You can feel his form starting to become kind of incorporeal. Like you can feel like almost like your hands are about to clip through him for a moment, but he has to roll a concentration check because he's grappled. He is very, very skilled at this, but he's also not feeling well. Where the heck is... Where is that? Okay, 7 plus... Okay, minus... Yeah. That's normally, and then with his debuff... Ooh. Oh, I meant to open roll that. 29. Crushed it.
Wow.
So you got a hold of him for a second, and you feel him struggle for a minute, and he just says, "Fool," and he just disappears out of your grasp and appears on the opposite side of the circle again. That is a... Oh, what action is that for him? I forgot what action that is. Swift action. So he bamps to the other side, and you see him begin to incant a spell. He has to roll another concentration check because of his condition this time. And I forgot to actually add that additional debuff, but that's fine. He still crushed it. So we're going to open roll this one. Like I meant to before. Well, that was almost a 2. That was almost a 2. And... Oh, but that's still not enough. Yeah. Can he spend... It's not quite enough. Okay, so... You see him begin to incant this spell, and you can see the energy of the circle begin to kind of... It kind of begins to condense downward, and you can see this circle kind of beginning to stabilize for a moment, and instead of like building, the power in the center starts to... It like seems like it starts to just kind of bleed away, like it's starting to like evaporate. Mm-hmm. And then in the middle of the spell, he just loses it completely, and you see the spike flare up again. But you are now on opposite sides of this.
Okay.
His turn is over. It is your turn. Roll concentration. Cool. If you're going to keep chanting, roll concentration.
Yep. I'm going to keep chanting.
18. That is what you need. So,
all right.
So you keep it going. It is. You know instinctively at this. You can see those like motes of light coming up off the circle have become these like tiny arcs of like multicolored electricity that are starting to slowly shift their tone to black. And that energy in the middle has begun to pool into a tiny spot that kind of forms a little circle on the ground there that begins to slowly widen. And you can just see this almost like steam is starting to kind of billow out of it in these waves, these little pulses that are, instead of stopping at the circle, they seem to kind of burst and scatter at the edges of the circle. It's about to blow. It's definitely about to go off. What do you do?
I'm gonna find anything I can to hide behind or hide inside of.
All right, roll me perception.
All right, it's better than 4 this time, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Oh, exactly 4. All right.
Well, meets beats, Dave. That's still not enough. So you turn, you try to look at everything while you're still going on this chanting. This is going to use your move action, so you'll still have a standard after this. And you can see there's this kind of little oh my god, wardrobe. Yeah. Wardrobe a few feet away, you could probably reach, but there's there's like a desk in front of it. There's like a bunch of stuff leaned against it. Like you're not going to be able to get it open in time. Yeah. You don't really see anything else that would be adequate to hide behind. There's like bookshelves and stuff, but trying to like move those out from like part of the wall, you're not going to have time. That was your move. So that was standard with Swift.
I guess I am going to assume nuclear fallout defense position where you just, cradle up, let's go. Like, it's the same thing. Same effectiveness. It's like you're dropping a nuke on me, whatever.
Give me an intelligence check real quick. Give me an intelligence check.
All right.
I'm going to see if I can give you a potential option. Okay.
Yeah.
So something you could try to do is, again, you can try to disrupt this. You can try to weaken the circle. Yeah. You could try to all you really know that's there is that bucket. So you could try to throw that bucket or something on your person at like the actual protection circle on the other side near him and see if you can scuff it and just just at this point, it's looking for path of least resistance. If you can damage it just a little bit, it might be enough.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably our best shot too. I just didn't even think about the bucket. So yeah, let's chuck that bucket.
So normally it'd be a move action to pick it up, but we're kind of just moving in this sort of flow. I think you have enough economy to grab it and just hurl it. So what I need is a ranged attack.
There we go.
13.
Ranged attack.
It's pretty easy to hit the floor, but this is like a specific spot on the floor. I upped it by about 2. So you beat it by 1. 13.
Right. Hit the floor.
So you hit, roll me 1d2. Right. No, sorry, no. 1d4.
1d4, okay.
Yeah. You need to do more. It needs to be more than a 1. Is basically what it is.
No, it's not.
It's essentially 1d4 minus 1 is what it is.
Hey,
look at that. So you scoop this bucket up really quick, and you may describe it if you like.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to grab the bucket with that just absolute frantic, like when you're reaching for anything, you just grab it and just across the room. Just, yeah.
What did you throw?
My empty Gatorade bottle.
Okay. So you throw that bucket, it sails through the air for a moment. Because you're still chanting, you can see this portal beginning to open, and this like boom, boom, boom. There's another burst that you get covered in like that steam. You can feel electricity across your skin as you release this bucket. And for a fact, if you flub this, it's time to pray. And you don't even have time for that because it's going off. And you can just barely see it as you kind of squint against this like electric mist coming out. The bucket like hits the corner and scrapes before it bounces. Like it goes right between his hands as he tries to catch it. It kind of bounces up past his face. And he looks at you confused for a moment, like, why are you throwing a bucket? Then he looks down, and you can see this like little silvery crack in the circle at his feet. His eyes go wide, and he has that like perfect cell being eclipsed by the Kamehameha.
Yeah.
No! The whole thing goes off in this blinding flash of blue and white. You are blinded for a moment. You can't hear. You go deaf. Everything for a while is blue and white. And when you come to, you're blinking, and you're kind of leaned up against the wall, and you can see that the circle itself is still intact, except for about a 3-inch space where your master was standing. He's no longer standing there. He is cratered into the opposite wall, deep enough that about this much of his arms are kind of hanging out, and you can see that same white, like electric smoke, kind of billowing out of the place. You can see his head just hanging down, and there's this palpable energy in the air. It's still making your skin tingle. Your ears are giving you that tinnitus ringing for a moment, and try to work it out. Mop.
That's what I was thinking too. Mop.
It slowly clears out. You can tell you're shaking. Whatever impact this had on your body is still affecting you, but just barely. You see your master cratered into the opposite wall there. You can see books scattered all over the place. There's some different reagents that have been spilled, and you can hear something metal rolling in the distance. There's a creak as one of the bookshelves goes falls against the stone floor. And you can see him lift his head slightly and slowly tip forward, and one foot touches the ground, and he begins to push himself up out of the crater. We're no longer going to be in initiative, though. You can see that he is heavily, heavily wounded. The smoke, the mist coming off of his torso as he rises becomes very clear that is not just some aesthetic effect. There is a missing portion of his skin. There's burned edges around where it billows out. But there's not like a crater in his chest. There's not like a burned ruin. You see through that space the night sky itself. He ripped open some kind of rift or something inside of him. Whatever that's doing, regardless, he starts to cough blood and tries to say something through it. Grabs his cane. What do you do?
I am going to, I think, cast a shadow weapon and try and run over there and hit him because he needs to, be dead, obviously.
Boop shadow weapon for me and then describe your action.
Hey, you recovered it. That. So for shadow weapon, I kind of reach my left hand out and I do a little chant, and my shadow kind of swirls up to me and it forms against my hand and it makes a weapon. And in this case, that weapon is just something more of what I'm just thinking I need. It's just kind of like a bludgeoning tool. It's crude. It's this panicked thought. It's not like, oh, I'm going to make a great weapon. It's very much just almost an improvised weapon, but it is kind of just this crude bludgeoning tool.
It's like you imagine like a stone, like a stone hammer or something, and it's kind of knotted, but it's all black,
Yeah, it's all black and shadowy, all hard edges and whatever. But it's just my thought of I just need something to hit him with. I have to hit him. There's no complex higher thought in that.
You get over to him, and he very weakly kind of grabs the front of your robes. He makes eye contact with you for a moment, and then you strike him.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage. This would be, I guess, a one-handed weapon.
Yeah, It has to be a weapon I'm proficient with. One second.
I mean,
I
basically
think it's
everybody's
club.
proficient
I
with
was
a
just
club.
gonna grab a
Yeah,
club. That's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
I think it's
Everybody's
just a
pretty
club.
much proficient with a club. So, just
So
about.
yeah, I'll roll that club.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be 1d6 plus strength. You don't have to roll to
Yeah.
hit. He
No.
can't avoid
Okay.
you.
Cool. And yes, it is 1d6 plus strength. I was just double checking. So. And my strength bonus is 1, right? I don't even know. Yes, it is. Okay.
So you tell me.
Well, that's why I asked. Oh, there we go.
Ooh, okay. I was just seeing if you were gonna need multiple strikes, but raise up, whack, right in one of the eyes that's staring at you, and he just almost like peels off of it and collapses backward. And you can see his arms are kind of still up, sort of stiff. You see the other eyes just kind of staring up at the ceiling. You're no doctor. You think he's dead. This part's all caved in.
I'm gonna grab his cane and just snap it across my knee and then run.
Okay. So you bolt.
Yeah.
Straight out of the study. As you're running, as you throw open the door, you hear strange sounds in this manner. Like you hear like what sounds like fluttering wings. You hear like these creaks and groans, like something great, like some giant wooden object is bending and shifting and moving. And as you go down the hallway to head back, probably toward, I guess, the kitchen at this point to make sure that nobody's in there, and then like go to make sure you meet your allies.
Yeah.
As you're running that direction, it becomes clear that the hallway shifts like a big sway this way and then that way as you're running through it. Make me a quick acrobatics check.
Okay. Not great.
Okay. You lose your balance a little bit. You get kind of flung against each of the walls. You sort of grab the corner as you get to it, and you almost get hit by a flying book just right at your face. Go ahead and make a reflex save for me.
Okay.
All right, good. You duck the book, glance back, and you see it actually turn down the hallway and flap like fluttering wings and whip down the other direction. And when you look back like ahead of you again, you don't see any people. You think everybody's gotten outside again, but you do see that same kind of shifting happening. Like something is groaning and moving, and you see several more books flying just like the other one through the air, kind of pass you overhead down the hallway. And you hear another loud groaning and snapping from somewhere behind you. And then another one a little bit closer behind. And then it starts to pick up its pace. You're hearing this like echoing thump, snap, and like this groaning creak just get faster and faster. I'm assuming by then you're already running again.
Oh yeah, I'm sprinting. Like,
Yeah,
let's go.
okay. As you're running by the table, it actually kind of moves like it tries to intercept you. I'm not gonna make you roll for that one because you figured some shit is going on by now. So you sort of run alongside it and like slide over it and continue your way toward the front door. You hear a couple of people like shouting from upstairs. Your window break, and you hear "Go out the window! Go jump!" And there's some like thuds and slamming, and then like a descending like a yell of fear getting further away. You enter the next like the next hallway that's leading into the foyer. And it does that same creak shift, and a chandelier drops down and kind of starts to spin right in front of you and like kind of ping pongs off the walls trying to hit you. I need another reflex save, or you can take some other action if you want to try to like attack it or something.
No, I think reflex. I'll just go for that. Ooh,
that one knocks you off your feet. It's pretty hard. Doesn't feel great. It's you're gonna take 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
So that one knocks you flat, and it kind of goes past you. And I can get rid of this jacket. It goes
But
past
it's
you.
so cool.
You hear like this crash, crash, crash as it hits the walls behind you. Assuming you stand up very quickly, you can see it's coming back for another pass. So continue trying to get the hell out of there. You finally enter the foyer, and you can see that there was like a little kind of oh god, what are they called? I cannot word today. My English is so not on point. A little cabinet, like there's like a couch and like a couple of chairs and things in there, and there's like this little cabinet that was sitting next to it that would hold like decanters and other things. You can see that has grown these like long like 2-inch spikes out of it and has proceeded to like charge around the room and just has wrecked all of the other furniture in the foyer. And it kind of skids to a halt as you enter into the foyer. It's standing in front of the actual front door opposite you. It like kind of squares off. And it breaks for you. What do you do?
I think I just on reflex try and hit it with the shadow club I have.
Okay,
Just
roll an attack.
all right.
Okay. Whack! Go ahead and roll damage. You make
right.
contact with it. A stupid creaky chair.
It technically gets to one. There we go. Helps if I input the thing correctly. After it takes damage, it gets to do a save to disbelieve the weapon later.
Ah, yes, because it's quasi-real.
Yeah, because it's quasi-real. So it can make a will save to disbelieve.
Okay, yeah. It's not going to matter here. You just
Yeah.
you like cave in the top of it, and it kind of topples over. You can see it's still moving, but you've like knocked it down out of the way. And I'm assuming you break for the front doors.
Yep. As soon as it's out of my way, I just go.
So rush over, grab the front doors. They're not opening. You can feel them budge, like they're trying to hold themselves shut. Go ahead and roll a strength check real quick.
Oh no, I'm so bad at these things. Okay, that's
a
great.
good strength check. So you plant your feet. You're right here. You're almost out. You plant your feet, heave. You get it partially open, and you can see on the other side. Names. You can see Kumal and Volga are both out there, and they're trying to like push it open from the other side. When they see you like in there, Kumal just reaches in and grabs you by the front of your robes and just pulls you through the like just narrow enough opening to get you through it. And it slams shut and kind of knocks all of you down for a moment. But once you're out there, you don't hear the creaking. You don't hear like the flapping of pages. You don't hear the stomps and crashes. It's quiet. And the manor looks normal. You've got like some bruises. You're bleeding a little bit from the chandelier slamming into you. So you definitely know you didn't imagine it. But it's quiet. And, other than the fact that Kamal immediately scrambles to his feet, he's like, "Let's get the hell out of here!" He helps you both up, and you see Rosh come like leading the horses and stuff over. You can see kind of in the distance, you see the other servants who are fleeing, or bolting off in the other direction on foot. So they throw you up on a horse, and you head west. Is there anything you want to say after your... Because they're like kind of looking at you expectant, like, did you do it, sort of thing?
I just kind of like shrug, and his head looked caved in. Shrug again, like I at this point I've dispersed the club, but I'm like, I mean, I hit him, like.
Valga's just so you hit him, then. Did he die? You said he looked caved in.
He wasn't moving. He had like a hole in his chest, a thing, and I hit him with a club, and then I just got out of there because you saw the house was like coming apart and things were alive and
whatever you did
by a chandelier. I just ran.
You see Halan pull up next to the rest of you. He looks a little worse for wear. He, you can see that he does. There's like the several bags of things that he got gathered are strapped to the horse. But his eye is like already kind of swelling. You see, he has a few cuts on his face. Just, we all made it. I wasn't sure I was going to. I didn't think books could hit that hard.
Turns out they got sharp corners.
You guys kind of share a laugh, like a nervous laugh, looking back at that hell manor. No idea what the heck's going on in there now. But and then continue to ride forward. So, the plan. Actually, you're the PC. I'll let you explain the plan to our viewers.
Oh yeah, so we're the five of us are gonna ride to. Oops, gotta zoom into where I can read things. We're gonna ride to Cell, and we're gonna then try and make contact with like a group that helps smuggle people across the border into Segia. But we're all gonna split up at that point because we figure some of us need to make it, and like as a group, we're way more likely to get caught. So we want to try and go individual, and then we're supposed to eventually meet up. Once we all get into Segia, we're supposed to meet up in Saikon. All I've got to go on, though, is a name and a slight description of a guy I'm supposed to meet, because once we get to Cell, we're splitting up. And so, we just know, hey, this is the guy you're supposed to go talk to. We all got to make it on our own.
All right. Any kind of like RP or conversations or anything you want to have on your way there?
I think it's gonna be one of those, where like for the most part, I'm kind of going over the gravity of what just happened. So I'm not in the most sociable mood. I'm kind of gonna be a little off to myself again. I've never killed anyone before, and the whole thing was just kind of a shock. So I don't think there's anything super specific I'm gonna have. I'm just kind of be processing.
Yeah, makes sense. I really hope the music has continued going this whole time. It probably hadn't.
It's fine. Well.
Live and learn.
Yeah. I think I'll do that, like the typical thing you do. So like, when you're free, what do you want to do? Kind of thing. Like, so when we get to Saikon, what's the first thing you want to do? Free, you're on your own, the world's your oyster. Like, what do you do? Where do you go? Like, what's the plan after this? I haven't thought that far ahead. I don't even know what's inside of them. I just know that's where we're supposed to meet.
Rosh says, I just kind of want to put this night behind me. I want to sleep knowing that when I wake up, I won't be there anymore. Everything it's a fresh start. Just, get a room at an inn and just rest easy.
It'll be nice being able to decide when I wake up for a change.
You want it? Kamala's, I think, I would like to just want to have someone to cook for me. I'll have a meal made by someone else who doesn't. They want nothing from me but coin. Maybe talk to a stranger, just chat. I don't know, something that feels like what normal people get to do. Howard just, I don't even know. I don't know at all. I still can't believe this happened. I don't know. But he's got like a big grin on his face. You can actually see he's missing a tooth. But Volga, she says, I think what I would like to do is I'm going to look for work. I can't just sit still and wait for opportunities. I've never been to Setsegia. sure that I can take care of myself as soon as possible. I don't want to depend on his money, not for long. So what about you?
No, never been anything but a servant. That's all I've done my whole life. Never thought we'd get this far, to be honest. I think just kind of making my own way at this point. So what I want to do, I don't want anybody else to tell me what I have to do. Like, if it's just, I want to work, of course. I want to make money, like you said. We can't just freeload off whatever we took. But I don't want to work for other people anymore.
To set your own terms, to say like, no, you give me this or you don't get anything from me.
Right, exactly.
It is nice.
I mean, I've never really been anywhere other than the villa, and occasionally when we would leave to go on certain places, I accompanied the master, but I've never been anywhere, so I don't even know what to do anywhere else.
Come on,
I don't ever think I've bought anything with money in my entire life.
No, you probably haven't, and you were too small to remember the journey getting to Garga.
Yeah. My first memories, like real memories, were in Gerga, in that house.
Yeah, that's not where you're from,
Right. Well, I kind of figured I don't look like anybody else from there, and I don't talk like them.
No, yeah. You got you in Vungia. I believe.
Well, maybe someday I'll make my way there, because I don't know.
It's a weird place. I grew up here, but going there made me wonder who really has it worse. People will say that it is like it's a controlled territory, The Elsani Caliphate took it over a while back, but I saw a lot of like firebombs, raids, and attacks and things even while we were there. So, maybe give it a few more years.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like somewhere I need to dodge for a bit. I'm trying not to get into anything. Like to lay low for a while.
Well, hopefully not too low. We'll split in cell, like you said, and try to meet in Saikan, but obviously these days there are no guarantees.
Yeah. Is it like a big city? I've never, like I said, never been there. But it's pretty good size, but there's got to be bigger places, right?
You can roll knowledge local real quick. You might actually know a little bit about some.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. You know that. So Jint is a pretty small city, right? You pretty much lived in one of the biggest places there. So the things you've heard about Cell is that it makes Jint look like a village. For reference, Jint has a population of about 1.6 thousand. Cell has a population of 13,000.
Right.
So it is
lots of people.
Far larger city, much higher population.
Got it.
And then, of course, the other thing is that there's been a lot of movement around there because it's kind of on the cusp of the war effort here and such, or the potential war effort. And there are lots of like little trade routes and things that move around into like the local areas, but also supplies moving through there to go to the different forts and such. It's even been growing as of late. So, or I say as of late, for the last like 20 years or so, it's been seeing some pretty serious growth.
Okay.
Excuse me. Because I believe the Chavakeha was about 60 years ago. Anyway. So yeah, you know it's a much bigger city, and Rosh will actually chime in and kind of say something about that. It's just, yeah, no, it's way bigger than Jint. I think he had us go there to visit a specific market once, one you didn't get to go to. It's huge. It's gonna be really easy to get lost, so keep your wits about you.
And we all have people we're supposed to meet. Excuse me. I know mine, but like, how am I supposed to find one person in a town that large?
Volga speaks up because you ask around. You talk to people, ask who's seen who. Taverns are a good place to find out about gossip and things. You were supposed to meet Morgan.
Right.
He has a really distinct birthmark, so people likely have seen him, but it could take some time. We may be here a few days before we really figure out where we're going and how we're getting there. But it's okay. Like we said, you lie low, we'll split the take, and it should be, because we're going to get there pretty quickly, it should be pretty easy to sell these things to make some kind of money. Just don't sell it all in one place.
Right. So I never even bought anything with money, so I don't even know what to sell, but we'll make it work, right?
Yeah, you know the theory, but we can go with you. We can try to help with getting all of that done before we split up.
It's gonna be weird, like being alone.
They all nod.
Don't think I've ever been actually alone.
Kamal shakes his head and says, you have, but not the way you will. Your loneliness before as a baby was, alone amongst other loners, other people for sale. And this time it will be a very different kind. Very different kind. Valgar shrugs and says, you get used to it. Being alone is not so bad. All the time. Too much is bad. It just means we have to work harder to either make a way for ourselves or to meet back up, or both.
I guess that's tomorrow me's problem right now. Today's me's problem is getting all this figured out and getting across that border, right? One thing at a time.
They all at the same time, right? So you make it to some. And yes, it is a much bigger city. Cell has, I believe Cell actually has walls. Yes, it does. Cell actually has walls. It has a citadel. It actually has like a trade district, like a huge marketplace. And as you're kind of going through, just noticing, you get there in the morning, the sheer volume of people that are in the place is way different. The presence of guards is much higher. You find soldiers doing drills. Even as you're kind of getting through the outskirts, you can see some of the Ulu warriors out on horseback, practicing like mounted archery with the Ulu recurve bows, which shoot very powerfully at a bit of a shorter range than, say, a longbow, but yeah. And You can see them kind of out like doing these like practice runs where they like ride and they come around and then they hit these targets and specific numbers. You can hear them like giving the shouts and stuff of the different like numbers that they try to have to hit. As you guys are heading into the city. But yeah, you get there, way more people, way more everything. You take a little while, a few hours really. It probably takes like one day really to kind of spread out selling the things that you got in the saddlebags and everything, because you're trying to not go to one place and not look too suspicious.
Right.
Trying to avoid places that are going to ask for too much identification and that kind of stuff. Jeez, hold on. Okay.
No worries.
Not going to ask for too much identification or anything like that. Why does this keep stopping? I told it to play the musics. It's not playing the musics. Okay. But yeah, anyway, you get there. Look around. You get all your stuff sold. And basically, once that's sold, it's kind of like nighttime. So you guys end up finding an inn to stay at. And it's pretty understood that's going to be your last night together before you all split off. Mm-hmm. Anything you wanted to say to your compatriots, or any kind of RP stuff you wanted to do, or anything?
No, I think it's going to just kind of be one of those things where you try and pretend like nothing is amiss, even though I know, we're all going to be leaving on a super dangerous thing to cross the border, and we're all supposed to meet there, but there's no guarantee any of us will even make it there. It's one of those where you just kind of avoid talking about that. So I try and act as normal as I possibly can, like it's the most normal day we could possibly have.
Yeah, fair. Just kind of probably about what they expected, maybe. Mm-hmm. You guys have a kind of as normal a day as you can. Maybe like, kind of share your first drink in freedom together. Talk a little bit, talk about your plans and that kind of stuff. A little bit of emotion between some of you, and then you understand like you're going to go to bed. When you wake up, you're going your separate ways.
Right.
So morning comes, and you've got to go find Morgan. Looking for an Ulukana man. An Ulukana, for our viewers, is a half Vishkanya, and Vishkanya are a race of like humanoids that have these like fine scales. They're kind of snake-like. These like burnished gold eyes. Ulukana are a half breed of those that have. They actually generally lack scales, but they still have the strange eyes. Vishkanya have venomous or poisonous blood, and the Ulukana can have that, but they also are very sensitive to their surroundings. Their skin is actually a bit more sensitive than others because of like the need for scales for most of the race, and I'm getting into the weeds here, sorry. But basically they are a half-breed of Vishkanya. Normally scaleless, cool eyes, odd hair colors. Sensitive skin. And you're looking for an Ulukana male, and you know that the strange birthmark they talked about is that he, on the left side of his face, has these black Vishkanya scales, which are it's very abnormal for an Ulukana to have scales, and much more that black is also a very rare color of scale, and it stands out a lot. Who's a member of the Fodero Maniba, which is a group from Dalancia, different nation. Basically like an adventuring guild and such. But they're the ones who smuggle the slaves in this area. That's who you're looking for. And to gather information is going to be a diplomacy check. So, because essentially this is I'm assuming this is pretty much what you're doing full time until you find him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're gonna keep rolling until you make your DC. I'm gonna give you a +4 since you're spending the whole day on it, and we're just gonna do one roll per day.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and roll diplomacy.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Of course, because you're a charisma caster.
Yeah.
So with that +4, that's 24. Absolutely crushed it. Actually set that DC at 20.
Got it without the +4. All right.
Yes, you would have. So after searching for several hours, talking to different people, greasing a few palms and such, you finally find out that he lives kind of on the northeast end of the city. You actually kind of drill it down to that, and you talk to some more people, buy some people some drinks, and finally they tell you, okay, his hut is over here or whatever, somewhere in this group. He usually frequents these taverns, so on and so forth. It's about that time of day by the time you get in that question, so he's probably at the tavern. So when you head in there, you pretty quickly spot him. He stands out. Not even just the black scales on the side of his face. He's still got those like human-like eyes, but they definitely have that gold color. And he's pretty pale. Most Ulis aren't super fair skinned. You would say he's pale. And then he has like just completely like stark black hair as well. So he looks like this like very contrasting shades, kind of standing in the corner, talking to a few different people who you see playing the Hunter's Gambit dice game. He's kind of standing over there just chit-chatting with them. So tell me how you approach.
I'm gonna do that thing where I kind of just like go wherever, like order a drink, and then I edge slowly closer to where they are until I'm like standing by them and just like, hey, like as nonchalant as possible. But it is that thing where it's like takes 20 minutes for me to slowly scoot my way over.
So you slowly work your way over there. You notice a couple of times he does look over at you, and he gets that look on his face like, was he sitting there before? And he goes back to his conversation. It says when you're finally like next to him and say hi, he doesn't jump or anything. He just says, well, you took long enough making your way over here. What can I do for you?
Water gun?
Might be. Who's asking?
I was told you're the man to look for. My name's Eli. I might need some help getting from here to there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Usually they go and talk to like a chauffeur or like a wagon or something. Oh, Eli, on a moment. What's that there on your wrist? Let me see.
Like proffer my arm.
He pulls back the sleeve a little bit. And you can tell he's noticing the scars. He goes, those are neat. Who gave you those?
An old Tertian man. Like I was like I don't understand why he's asking this question, kind of thing. Like
he smiles.
Real confused. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah, he can be a bit of a bugger, can't he?
Sure could.
Well, hopefully he's not going to be a problem. But it's fine. I think he's got his own things to worry about at this point. As long as we get you moving quick, he shouldn't fuss, eh?
Just kind of nod. Like, very much in the like, yeah, I don't want to admit to killing somebody mode, right? I'm just like, yeah.
He seems sort of nervous. You know, normally I'd offer you a drink, but maybe it's a crowd, yeah? Let's go get some air. He kind of walks you out of the tavern. Mutters a couple of things in Thulian to the others. Do you speak Thulian?
No.
Okay, yeah. It just sounds like weird. It sounds like weird, long voweled words with sharp consonants. Okay, yeah, sure. So you guys head out. You he sort of walks with you for a little bit, and he's just giving you like basic small talk stuff until you kind of reach an area. There's not too many people. He turns down an alley. He takes like a quick look over his shoulder, turns down an alley, and there's like a couple of people in the alley. They look like they're kind of doing something shady. There's like kind of hunched, like talking in low voices. And he walks into the alley and goes, "Oi, fuck out of here, go!" And they look up and they're like, "Who the fuck?" Oh shit. Okay, yeah, bye. It's kind of scattered. All right, good. So, Eli, well met. Still nervous?
I mean, I don't exactly know what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess, but yeah, good to meet you, Chuck. I'm sure.
We're supposed to be going to Setsegi, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
Well, I mean, you can probably tell by me demeanour, I tend to be pretty informed for the most part. At least I'd like to stay that way. So, I was a bit ready for you, not completely. It's going to be about a day if we can get you out of here. What I need to know is a little bit more about your situation. Is this man going to be coming after you? Are the hounds on your tail?
Shouldn't
No. No. Okay. Is he dead?
Should be.
Should be. Easier to say no.
I'm not a doctor or anything, but he looked pretty dead. Yeah, pretty dead.
Oh, was he missing his head?
He was caved in on one side, and he had a hole in his chest, so...
Caved in's pretty good. He wasn't a troll?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Alright,
you know,
yeah, that might have done it then.
pretty
Excellent.
powerful arcanist, though, so you can never count him out.
True. We're going to chalk that up to maybe. There may be some people coming after you for doing him in, or trying to. So it's not unlikely for them to blame the slaves if you're all missing and he's got, you know, a weird situation up top.
Right.
That's fine. We can get that taken care of. Listen, this is what me and my people do. Well, the diggers, the Fudera Maniba in Thulian, they dig with their hands. It's a whole thing. I don't think ruins. It's very interesting stuff, but I'll spare you. What I do, what me and the people that I run with do as part of this organization is we help people like you get out of those situations as much as we can. Right, law of the land and all that. Can't just go out and breaking people out of manners. But now that you're here, we're taking care of your journey. All right, you don't need to pay a cent. Do you have a plan once you get to Saikan? Because that's where we're taking you.
I'm supposed to, meet up with other people, but I don't have like a concrete idea of what I'm supposed to do when I got there. Exactly, I've never really been anywhere but here in Chip now, and so I guess settle in. I don't know where else to go. So
he jumps a little bit, looks down. Did you do that? The shadow moved.
Oh, it's just the lighting in the alley. I promise. Don't worry about it. Happens all the time.
Draws attention. All right. So no real plan. Go there and meet up with the others. You're aware of the risks in this. They may not make it.
We all know. We talked about it. But that's just kind of the idea, at least.
And some of them don't have Saikan as a drop-off point. They're going to have to make it their own. So maybe a bit. You're not depending on them, are you?
No, we split the money we had evenly, so I can make my own way once we get there.
That's good. All right. So there's a few people we know that can help you try to set up a residence or something. There's a few problems. We don't have papers for you. Won't have them by tomorrow. The guy that forges that stuff, he's laying low. Can't do it right now. So, the good news is once you get to Setsegia, given the political climate at the moment, no one's going to be coming after you. Once you get there. It's getting there that's the problem. I'm just going to tell you the plan, alright, and try not to pee yourself on anything. There's a wagon that's going to be heading that direction. And there's some space in it that we could presumably load some cargo in. And I hear people call you cargo sometimes. And it's going to be heading into Setsegia. It's going to go through about 4 checkpoints. That doesn't sound too scary, but here's the problem. There's no way in hell you're going to get through those checkpoints. This cart can get you there. It can get you past the regular patrols, right? They're just going to take a quick peek inside, make sure nothing's bleeding, screaming, or chanting curses from Ishara. But once you actually hit those checkpoints at the border, they're going to search everything. You're going to have to bail out before that. They'll give you a warning, but you're going to have to hop off and make your way across on your own. Are you capable? You were with an Arcanist for several years, so I hope you've got some fighting skills, something survival-wise, anything.
I mean, I can figure it out. I'm a resourceful young lad.
Any experience in the woods?
No.
And this is going to be a bit harder than you think. It's alright, so... One of them's going to give you something. Works 3 times, it can tell you where north is, right? If you keep heading west, you're going to get past the border. So if you know where north is, you know where west is.
Right.
Good. It's going to help you 3 times. But you are going to have to pass through the woods. It's the only place there's no wall. They do have patrols, so you're going to have to be pretty careful. But once you bail out, cover of night, all of that, head straight into the woods and go west. When you breach the tree line, you're in Setsegia. You'll be, unless you go way too far off course, you should be within a few miles of Sanctum.
Okay. I can do that. Yeah, I can go west.
Alright. That's the only plan we've got right now. We'll get you there best we can. Put on a day's notice to try to get you out of here as fast as we can. As best we can do. Pat you on the shoulder. Best of luck. You're going to meet, not in this tavern, you're going to meet at the North Gate tomorrow. Alright? Meet there at dawn first. You're going to meet with your driver and everyone. They're going to give you a quick rundown. Then you're going to come back later that day, about sundown. That's when you're going to leave.
Alright.
Don't write that down. Keep it.
I kind of do that thing where I like check my pockets as if I was going to write it down and then realize I also don't have anything to write with anyways, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, go ahead.
If you get confused, come find me, okay? I'm here to help. Alright. Anyway, heading back into the tavern now. You can come in, have a drink if you like, otherwise just maybe head off and get yourself some sleep, eh? If you've never been on a carriage for that long, it's not the easiest place to rest.
Yeah. I think I'll do that. So I'll go there tomorrow. Got it. Yep. And then just kind of like repeating it to myself real quick, just to like make sure it's in my head as I'm like kind of walking off to like try and find an inn.
Okay. So yeah, you pretty easily find it. You probably figured out what inn you were going to stay at while you were gathering information, because it's pretty much been the whole day.
Yeah.
So eventually, you get bedded down, you have a rest that night, get up at the crack of dawn and head to the North Gate. You can see that there's several people kind of sort of milling about. They're loading up this wagon. You can see that they're loading up one of these wagons, and you can see that there's actually 3 kind of connected, like several horses, and people are like, tending to the horses and such, and somebody's like walking back and forth, and they've got a little ledger with them, and they're kind of writing stuff down and talking to the others, and of course, this one of them spots you. It's a kind of short, shorter half-recog. Recogs are orcs. Half-recog man. Looks at him and goes, "Oi, you Eli?"
Yeah.
"Ah, yeah, we were waiting for you. Come here." Goes over and acts like he's showing you stuff on the ledger. Goes, "So you're gonna meet back here about sundown. If you're too late, we're gonna have to leave without you." They start getting suspicious about nighttime when it hits dark. It's already going to be a little bit weird for them if we're leaving at sundown, but dead of night we're going to have to go, so don't be late. Make sure you bring whatever you want with you when you get there. Make sure you can carry it. Yeah?
Right.
Because you're going to have to at some point. Be smart to bring a bit of extra food, some sort of rations or something. We don't have a whole ton of extras. Enough, yeah, but if you bring some extra to carry yourself over, we can send you with rations. And, say your tatas and everything to anybody who's still here you need to. And then, make sure you're armed. You've been told what you're gonna have to do.
Right, yeah. I'll get some provisions, yeah, and then I'll meet back here at sundown. Sounds good.
Aye. And the woods in Gurga and Senseki are not friendly, so make sure you're ready for that. It's getting cold too, so bring some winter clothes. If you need time to shop, you've got it now. But obviously, I'm not gonna make you shop.
Yeah, I'd pick up a winter coat and a knife and things like that I don't have because I didn't take them when I ran off.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely have a dagger. Better have a dagger. No,
yeah, right.
So you make your way back there at night. Board this. You pretty much get on the back of this wagon. You go up there, that same guy spots you and looks around a little bit, and he leads you over to the back of it. And, you can see that there's some benches back there, and there's stuff piled in most of them, but there's a couple of spots. He doesn't lead you to a spot on a bench. He opens a big crate. You see, it has some cushions in it. It's mostly just hay wrapped in cloth. And he goes, "That's your seat, unfortunately."
It's all right. Definitely had worse. You get comfy. Should have brought a book. Trying to just joke and make light of it. Sit down.
I probably should have bought a book. I should have warned you, but sorry. Puts the lid on the crate back down, and you hear him hammering in a nail, but only one nail. All right. So that journey, thankfully, is fairly uneventful. Very uncomfortable. Fairly uneventful. Let's see. Yeah. Move the little token here. Eventually, the time does come. And, yeah. You know that there's a few searches that happen while you're on the carriage. You can hear the soldiers kind of ordering people around and moving and checking things. And a couple of times your crate gets nudged, but no one really looks in it. And then they dismount very quickly. They're fast searches. It happens maybe 2 or 3 times on the way. Because this is the main road, and leading directly into Setsegia. But as you get closer and closer, day is almost over. And by day is almost over, I mean night's almost over. It hasn't quite gotten light outside yet, but you can just tell by how you're feeling, how tired you feel. That it's late. You've been up a while. You've been trying to sleep. You're getting like little bits of shut eye here and there, but it's a rough ride. Finally, you're kind of jostled awake again, and then someone opens turns the lid of the crate on that little axis of the single nail. It's like, "Oi, Eli, it's time." And somebody helps you up out of it and hands you a lantern. Says, "Look, here's the lantern for you. There's a bit of oil in this flask if you need it. Here's this token. Take this, and the command word is... forgot what the command word is." Oh, yeah. The command word is liberation. It will indicate where north is. It will kind of have a glowing, pointing thing where north is. You make sure you continue west, yeah?
Right. West.
Okay. Alright, I'm going back to the front. We are near the check. We are getting closer to the checkpoint, but count up about 8 minutes. 68 times. And either before or at the end of that, you've got to go. Once I disappear, start counting. You don't want to hit all 8 minutes, okay?
What?
Good luck. Kind of gives you like a thump on the chest. And he walks off, disappears.
As soon as he does that, I start counting. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not obviously going to count the whole time, but just very much like that to myself.
Yeah. So you can feel it like kind of rattling, and you kind of go and look out like the back of this wagon. These are covered wagons. You can see these like bumps and jostles, and like it's easy to think. I mean, you've jumped off of shit you're not supposed to.
All the
especially
time. So
moving
many times.
things you definitely shouldn't have.
Yes.
So you know that feeling of how it's like the idea of like, okay, yeah, I just have to suck it up, grit my teeth, and jump. Last until you look at what you have to do. Like when you see the I'm moving faster than I thought I was moving. And also, that's a little further down. And that ground looks real uncomfortable. There's a lot of rocks. Like, there's like all those little bits of like, shit, this is going to suck a lot more than I thought it was going to start to kind of come to you. As like, it's a rough ride from being inside of a box. But then like standing at the back of this wagon as it bounces and, hits these like different little bumps and how uneven the road is. It settles in a little bit. But you got to jump at some point.
I kind of like do that, like where I psych myself up, and as I'm doing it, I go ahead and cast the Penumbra cantrip so that I'm like in shadow because I just feel more comfortable in the darkness, and I'm like, okay, got that, and then I just like jump and roll.
Okay, acrobatics.
All right.
Hey, you only have a +1.
Hey, yeah, I do not. I am very vanilla, except for my incredibly awesome charisma.
Whew. Okay. But you make it. You jump, tuck, and just roll when you hit the ground, like a good shoulder roll. You end up kind of in the grass on the side of the road, and you don't want to be on the road. Because if you're if you had like fallen and like hit your head or something like laid in the road, they're gonna get a little ways past you, and whoever is at that gate will see you.
Yeah.
The road's the part that's most illuminated and everything. Like it's meant to be that way. But you roll off of it, and you can immediately see that tree line and just take off and get into it. So, we're going to figure out how many days it takes you. Oh, shit, I said north. You're supposed to go south and go through the woods. That's fine. Pretend I said south. South and then go west.
Yep.
And yeah, then if you hit the shore, follow the shore, you'll hit Saigon. That's supposed to be the instructions. So we're over here now. And okay, we're gonna see how long it takes you. Normally on foot, you're gonna go. I cannot remember all of a sudden. Wait, who's pestering me? Who's pester? Oh, okay. Molly's pestering me. I think it's like 28 miles per day on foot. And you're wanting to avoid the road. Okay, so we're gonna see how long it takes you to hit the shore.
All right.
So go ahead and roll me a survival.
All right.
You
Get
got
my
3 uses
awesome +0 on a 0 thing, by the way.
Yep.
So just straight rolls. Here we go.
Okay, so you get lost.
Yeah.
You spend the first day getting pretty turned around. I should have checked to see how many rations you actually had.
So I have a Pathfinder kit, which has a week's worth of rations in it.
Okay, so you got 7 days.
Yep.
That one's still going to be for your actual game start. So don't mark off of that one, but
that was my thing
else.
that I had as a starting thing for my character, anyways. And then for the business, I bought the deluxe engineering kit, so I'm not counting that as part of my inventory right now. Only the Pathfinder kit, because I don't buy the deluxe engineering kit because we talked about this when we said it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it until I have the treasury for the business treasury, anyways.
Right.
There's no reason I would have a dungeoneering kit for going through the woods. So I have a Pathfinder kit. That makes sense.
So, yeah. So, but I'm still not going to make you mark off uses of the Pathfinder kit, but we're going to use that as our. This is what you have at this time, right?
Right.
You just bought another one in the future, but so 7 days. So that's going to mark off 1 day of rations. Mm-hmm. So you're down to 6, and you get lost. So are you going to just try to figure out how to get back on track? Or are you going to use a use of your item that has 3 uses?
I'm going to use a use of my item because if I've been wandering around the woods all day, I'll be exasperated and tired, and I want to find these ghosts.
Okay, so we got 6 rations left and 2 uses of the item. So for the next day, go ahead and roll survival again. I won't say anything. Just go ahead and roll it. Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah. So next day you very easily get to where you can see the shore. And then, 19 is really good, so you're able to follow it for a ways. And this part is pretty easy now. Checks are going to get a little bit easier. So that's another day of rations. Got 5 left. Don't need to use your item. You got the shore at least there, right? The only thing is, so you have to kind of stay away from it because it's a cliff shore, which a lot of it is in this area that like until you get close to the port. So you can't really walk along the shore safely. So you kind of have to keep your distance in the trees and such. So it is possible you can lose sight of it. Not super likely. It still helps as a very good landmark. So go ahead and roll survival again and we'll see if you manage to lose sight of the shoreline. Natural 20.
All right. Using up all the good rolls now.
Right. So you make great progress. You feel pretty damn sure that you're going the right way. You kind of figured out a method. And granted, you are going through the woods and it is taking days. You're not used to this.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Your super nice clothes are no longer nice by now. You've been eating nothing but basically trail rations. So you're having to consume a lot more water. And unfortunately, the water at the water to your west is not drinkable.
Right.
So, because you got that 20, I'm going to say that you did find maybe like a quick source of fresh water. And you remember you're reading some of the survival material and stuff you've got. You're like, okay, I can't just drink this. I need to like boil it, and so, yeah, you've got stuff to like start a fire and everything.
Yeah.
So you're able to like use your like a mess kit and like boil the water off and whatnot, and then just ladle it up and hydrate yourself and refill your water skin. So that's taken care of. And another survival check. You think you're getting close by this point because they said it was only like a few days away.
Yeah.
So, a 2. So you're going. Basically, what ends up happening is you think you see it. You think you see part of the city. So you start kind of making your way straight toward it. And you kind of make your way through some trees and everything like that. And when you finally get close enough, you're like, no, oh shit. That's not Saigon. That's not Saigon at all. It's weird treetops and some big rocks and things that are like on a hill, sort of peeking over some trees and whatnot. It just tricked you, sort of in like the different lighting. And you walk out and you find the road. And you go, oh no, this is where I was supposed to be. Because it's a 2. You managed to get pretty confused on whether the road is supposed to, where you need to follow it this way or that way. And you know it's important because otherwise you might be heading back toward Gurga if you fuck it up.
I definitely want to use my item again to make sure I know which way I'm supposed to go.
Okay. So once you use it, it's like super obvious.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, cool, yeah. West, this goes west. Cool. I can kind of follow the road, or you can kind of keep the road a little bit in sight and start making your way that direction. And that's another day though. So that spends another ration and roll that survival.
Alright.
This is much easier
Ooh,
than
another nat
natural.
20.
So when you use that tool, the DC is like 5.
Oh yeah.
But it's fine. Another nat 20. You start making your way there. Weather's getting it's getting a little chilly, but you've got that the winter clothes and stuff. You finally get to where you're pretty darn sure you see it, but you stick to your guns. You stay on the same path, and eventually when you come out, you can see the walls, and you're like, yes, okay. Yeah, this is definitely it. This has got to be Saigon. And it's also huge. And yes, Saigon does have walls. I remember you asking me that a while back.
I did.
I didn't have an answer. Yes, it indeed do have the wall. Yeah. And a citadel, and a shantytown, and a harbor, and a trade district. So yeah. Lost my map. Cool. So you finally get to Saigon. And still close the thing I needed. Alright, yeah. So you finally make it to Saigon. And there's still probably that lingering, like, oh crap, what if people see me, right?
Right.
But then you probably remember, you're not in Gurga anymore. You're in a totally different place. And it is one of those rare days when it's not storming. I did actually forget to say that, you knew you hit Sekia whenever you just pretty like walk through a storm wall, basically. Right. Like, oh, yep, here it is. Here's all that rain they were talking about. But once you reach it, it's one of those rare days where the storm lets up, and it's not super sunny. It's not like you just walk out of the trees. It's a spring day and birds are chirping. But it is it's not raining. There is a little bit of sun, not overcast. You can see that there's a lot of people out, kind of enjoying it. There's kids running around. Once you get into the city, nobody stops you. You just walk straight up. They notice you. You're a foreigner, but they don't even stop you. Well, I shouldn't say that. They don't try to detain you. They do check and make sure you don't have like anything dangerous on you or whatever. They ask where you came from, um, and even when you like whatever you tell them, they seem to like they're like that's whatever, it's fine, right? Like you don't have anything on you, and like these are just rote questions. And they tell you, if you're new and such, they see you're carrying some gear and whatnot. They kind of give you basic directions, like, okay, if you're just passing through, there's some inns. You follow the main road. You'll hit an inn. If you're planning to stay, make sure you head to like the eastern area of the city and talk to like this person or this person or this person. They're like landlords or this guy runs a business. And if you work for him, he can put you up. They give you like just some, hey, dude, if you're gonna be here for a while, we don't want you wandering the streets, right?
Right. Yeah.
They don't want to have to like see you again as a homeless person and be like, dude, you got to go to jail now. Like we told you where to go. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
So they do give you a quick little breakdown, and it sounds like they've done this before. They don't like escort you or anything like that, like because they're staying at the gate, but they do give you like a very quick welcome. And despite all of that crazy drama and stuff you went through, it is a slow kind of creeping. Not creeping is a bad word. A building sensation that you are free. That you're away from it. You made it. It isn't some immediate moment of like someone breaks the chains shackling your feet or like a brand disappears. Nothing crazy like that. You just, as you walk around, I'm sure you start to feel this kind of sense of something is different. You don't answer to anyone now. I mean, laws of the land, of course, but
Yeah.
you succeed or fail on your own merit at this point.
One of like the first things I'm gonna do is go and find a fine clothes shop and buy new clothes.
And you do. And you don't see any of the other members of your group. They're not. You don't see them there. Obviously, it's a very big city. I can tell you its population. I'm gonna try not to bog everything down at this point, just because we're kind of at a wrap now, right?
Yeah, we got through it.
Saigon has a population of about 11.7 thousand people, and it has a lower population than like Cell did, but the city itself is physically larger. There is more space in Saigon. It's got these walls. It's got more farmlands and other things like that. It's kind of got a shanty town located like outside of the walls and such. And it is a more spacious city. And there's a lot more greenery. Cell is kind of built in like a hilly area, and there's like actually kind of like marshes and such around it. But Saigon is just kind of built in like a clearing in the woods, so there's like a lot of trees and stuff. Anyway, I say I'm not going to bog it down, and then I give you all this flavor text. So you go buy some new clothes, which are yours, paid for with your own stolen money. And,
Yeah, I stole that money fair and square.
Right? And eventually, yeah, the rest, I guess we could say, is history in a way. You decide to start your business. You you didn't have to take out a loan because you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
For those watching at home, which also includes us, it wasn't a small sum you guys got to split. It was a lot, and you didn't liquefy all of it, right? Just like as much as you could comfortably, and keep some of it to like because it can be bargained with and that kind of stuff. But there was like a lot of gemstones and expensive magical reagents and components and things like that. Like there's all sorts of stuff that was easy to pack away that is worth a lot of money. So it enabled you to, rent this lot, buy, actually pay whatever things you needed to pay for like documentation, all that kind of stuff. I mean, by this point, by the point when we're going to actually start the story, you know, you're a citizen by then, because you have to be to own a business, right? But unless it's traveling. But you're a citizen of Sitsegia, residence in Saigon, residence at your place of business, because you don't have that much money.
Yeah.
But it enables you to hire some people. It enables you to like get that little bit of a kickstart so that you can start, actually doing what you're supposed to do, what you feel you do. So now that we're kind of at the end of this, whoever's watching this video, what kind of stuff did you want to tell them about Eli or about Alduin Logistics and Retrieval?
So
as much or as little as you want. You don't have to like spill the beans, right?
I was gonna say early on, it's kind of one of those things where when deciding to do things, I saw this old kind of abandoned-ish building for rent that may used to be like a warehouse, whatever, and had some offices. Rented that out and didn't know exactly what to do with myself, but kind of quickly found out that sometimes people need things, and hey, I can get things. I clumsily made my way through the woods to get here, but I've also got magical talent and I'm good at these things. Then I quickly was like, oh, I need to get from point A to point B. And so like my first thing for business purchases was Nyx, who's my horse and has been my companion since I got him when he was like just, not too much older than a colt. So kind of had him the whole time. So Nyx is going to be like 4 or 5 when we pick up our story, because that's 3 years hence. And he's, pretty young horse still and has been with me the whole time. But quickly I realized I don't have a head for money. So hired on Mare to kind of handle the business aspect of the business and let me do the retrieval aspect. And then I've gone through lots of different employees here and there for muscle or equipment and whatever I need people for, but people don't tend to stick around super long. It's one of those things where it's a temp job for a lot of people, and a lot of people, they get a little weirded out and maybe aren't as comfortable, or the job is also dangerous. Sometimes people do a thing and they're not super keen on doing it again. The mayor stays in an office, so he's stuck with me.
And of course, with your developing powers and such over the shadows, it doesn't exactly inspire comfort in some of the people who visit you.
Yeah.
But okay, I think that'll do it. And yeah, we don't intend this to be a video that you have to watch just to start. You can just jump right in on August 16th on twitch.tv _ Dave's not going to finish it for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was listening. Twitch.tv/unnatural_1s. There we go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. On August 16th at 9 p.m. Central Time, Pathfinder First Edition is our system. And yeah, we're going to be starting then. If anyone just jumps in there, tell your friends, like, hey, you don't have to watch that 2-hour video, whatever. It's just fun if you do. If not, I mean, yeah, we're going to start off anyway. It'll be fun. It'll be great. And yeah. Next up, we will do one of the other folks. I don't know who yet. I have to talk to them, but
we'll find out. It'll be fun. It'll be great. I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see their story as well. I do have one other question. Just who else made it to like Saigon?
Ah, yes. Of your allies. You know what? I've been thinking of that. I hadn't actually quite decided. There's 4 of them. So go ahead and just roll me a d4.
Okay.
Holy.
Roll a 4.
Holy shit. All of them apparently made it at some point.
Woohoo!
Wow. All right, that changes things. That's fine. Cool. Yeah, no, they'll be showing up. We'll see, we'll say some of them have shown up already, kind of early on. Ooh. Yeah, roll 2 more d4. We'll randomize it that way.
Oops, that is not.
Rolling
I hit the
d5.
Look, this thing doesn't have a number pad, and it throws me. It does have a number pad, but I was not using it, so it throws me off. Wow, I don't know how I've rolled so many 4s on d4s today. Usually I roll 1s on d4s.
Okay, so
Patrick, this is what I'm going to tell you, that I actually have Bashi doing all my roles. I have him on
oh
Discord, and he's
gosh,
the one running my Roll20 account, not me.
that's one of our good friends who in one of our other like our home games just. God, he rolls so high. It's absurd. Just crit, 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 high damage. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway.
And you guys will find out I roll terribly.
Normally, yeah. Maybe the stream will break your curse, Dave.
Oh, let's see. I hope it will.
So 4 is going to be Halan. Yeah, take a note of that for me. I am too, but just in case something goes weird.
Yeah. I'll write it here.
And then another 4. That's 1, 2, 3. Back to 1, I guess. Number 1 was Rosh. Rosh. So those 2. Alright, what we'll do is... Alright, so like, maybe... Little mini spoiler, all 4 of them make it. But, we'll have one arrive later, maybe during the stream or something. At some point in one of the streams. We'll say that you got word that they were, like, on their way, right? So out of Kumal and Valga, which of the other ones do you want to have already arrived?
We'll say Kamal, I guess, will have been the one to already arrive. With that.
Valga. You get... So yeah, he arrives kind of later than Rosh and Halan. He tells you that he got word that Valga made it. That she was in where is it? I have a specific place in mind. I thought I had a specific place in mind. Oh yeah, I just can't pronounce it because I keep forgetting how to pronounce it. Galiset Salt, which is this one.
Better than I would have done. It's better than I would have done.
This one here, which has actual text if you hover over it.
Yeah.
I have to do it on the other one.
Gotcha.
Do it on that screen. And yeah, she arrived there. He said that she's kind of trying to get like even settled and stuff, but she'll be showing up at some point. That she's safe.
Cool.
So you learn that Rosh is... So Rosh and Halan already showed up at some point, so you learn that Rosh is actually an apprentice to... Oh, I mistyped his name completely in my notes over here. I was like, that's not the same person. No, okay, yeah. Rosh is an apprentice to an alchemist that actually lives in... that doesn't live in Saikan proper. They live out, like, kind of in the woods to the north. But they come to Saikan specifically, actually, to find people to teach their craft.
Okay.
You find out that basically... I'm trying to see how much he would actually say. That's what you learn. Because they come into the city to find people to teach their craft to, and he got chosen to be an apprentice. And then you find out that Halan is working as... in Saikan itself, is actually working as a cleric, not a magical cleric, like a books and stuff and ledgers and things cleric, at the barracks on the south end of Saikan. There's actually like several rows of them and such, and it's actually a kind of people move. A lot of soldiers have moved, like go in and out of there. Like they show up here. A lot of trainees and stuff show up there, and then they get pushed out to wherever they're going. And so he got hired to do a bunch of the paperwork and stuff there, which is he handled a lot of books and things when he was with your master. So that's what he's doing. So he's local. Rosh is kind of local, but oftentimes ends up being off out in the woods learning. So there you go. You know, those two, and then so far Kumal is not employed. He's been doing like odd jobs and other stuff. So he's got a few new scars.
This will be cool. I'm excited. Yeah, and then we're gonna jump us all forward. Obviously, time jump for us in here, but it's gonna be sweet. I'm super excited, and we'll pick it up. And man, I'm ready for the 16th already.
Right, man. I realized I didn't say at the beginning. This is like 3 years ago to 4 years ago. This is 4 years prior to the campaign.
We talked about it, but
you and I did, but I don't think it was on this video.
That's true. That might not have been. Yeah. So
I might put some text or something in there that says that. But yeah, this is about 4 years prior to the campaign starting. This is when this happens. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end now. So otherwise, we'll just trail off and talk about random stuff. So yeah. Hope you watched, hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on August 16th for
sure. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye. How do I end a video? I actually know how. I just don't have it up. Okay. Now bye. Nope. That's a way. Bye. Bye-bye.